Hi, welcome, Christy, to Seattle Network. Thank you for joining me. Yeah. Okay, so you are the founder and owner of the Sugaring Hut. You're in Wenatchee. I'm
Yes.
here in Seattle, and we met for many personal reasons why. But our common theme really is because of business.
Yes.
And I'm so excited to talk to you because I need to compliment you on something just right off the bat. And I've seen you like really in it in your business, and you not only are so incredible with customers and not only that but with working around like operationally and everything. You don't like that personality was not like fake, because even afterwards personally and everything, it was just like you were the same character. And so for me, what I learned from my business mentor is like that is the greatest reflection of someone's true values and character, and it bleeds into the business because like home and business. And so that was super awesome to just be able to see you light up any
Yeah.
room that you're in, like honestly.
You.
And it wasn't fake. It was you're so authentic. Not only like it, like you really care.
I
Like you
appreciate
really
that.
care about people. So that's what I
You.
saw from the very onset, not just once but twice. And so that I've been able to see you in person and everything, and all of our chats in between. So I just want to say, like, I'm so excited to talk about
Yes.
like all these things, because I think a lot of people can get inspired by how to really always be operating at the highest energy frequency that they can, because
Absolutely.
you're really living like the best version of you, and you're just such a go-getter, such a hustler. So in a really good way. Like it's
So,
100% you're entrepreneurial, like you have so much grit, your tenacity is incredible, and I'm just so honored to be able to be in that energy spirit with you. So thank you for
thank you.
doing what you're doing.
It's fun. I like to have a good time doing it.
Okay, so tell me how the heck you got into the med spa industry. Oh, and let's first wait, sorry. Can we first
Yes.
say what happened? So you had two businesses,
I did, yes.
and it's the first one was Paul's. Oh, God.
This bar studio.
Yes, the bar studio, and you sold it?
I did, yes. So a little
Fucking
bit of
badass.
backstory. I have been an esthetician since 2010,
Yeah.
and I was pretty much just like specializing in sugaring in the valley. I moved to LA for a while, and when I lived in LA, I found a bar studio that I really loved. I moved back home and I was like, man, we are really missing the market here because bar is such an amazing workout.
You're like, I would be a customer right now.
Yes. I know, I was like, I miss bar. I need bar classes in my life again. So,
Wow.
in let's see, it was 2015, I opened up the Sugaring Hut, which was just me, solo esthetician by myself with the bar studio.
Amazing.
And then I got 3 years into doing both things, realized that two businesses was a lot, and I just couldn't do it all anymore. And I also just really loved instructing fitness classes.
Mm.
So for me, it was kind of like, okay, where do I really want to like see myself going and growing? And I really wanted to grow the sugaring side of the business. And I knew that I couldn't do that if I had two. So
Yeah.
I sold the bar studio, but stayed an
Crazy.
instructor for a really long time. And then started bringing my focus in on growing the sugaring hut.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so it was acquired by someone. Did you know the person who bought it?
I did, yes.
Help me
So her name
understand
is
that
Tisha.
acquisition process.
Well, she actually was an instructor at the bar studio for me.
Oh my God, even better.
Yes, and she did such an amazing job with it. So, that was a really, really fun process. And
And you stayed on for like the handover process, which is the best thing to do to make sure that it is sustainable and she
yeah,
has everything that she needs. Whoa.
yeah, and she just crushed it too. So it was really good.
Well, clearly you're a good leader and you're able to
Thank
talk things through.
you.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I just like
gosh.
being an instructor too, and just kind of
Yeah.
seeing it flourish and do its thing, and survived 2020. So that was a
Yeah.
thing that
That's
happened, unfortunately.
But I think like what you were saying beforehand of like, Wenatchee, And for those who are listening who are in downtown Seattle or in the campuses and stuff, I'm gonna be like a tour guide for a second. Wenatchee is freaking awesome. If you know Leavenworth and you're going there to go skiing and you're going for like the German, that was that German village thingy bobber, like
barbarian.
there it is. Yep. And get your pretzel and beer. You go a little bit along the way. There's Wenatchee, and then everything around there are like a lot of vacation homes and stuff like that. So a lot of tech executives have vacation homes over there, or a secondary home. So that's where you are. I just want to kind of put that on the map there. Yeah. And it's interesting because for the so you got into med spa and you wanted to grow that. So what did you saw the opportunity in the med spa industry for you? Not only that, but as a business, because now that you've sold a business, I'm sure now you know, like, okay, my training wheels are a little bit off now. And now I'm riding a bicycle. Here we go.
All the things. Yeah, the training wheels are gone. We're on the bicycle. Yeah, so I have been an esthetician for a super long time. Always loved skin, loved skincare. I really got into the sugaring side more than anything else. So, sugaring is hair removal, if you don't know. It's using a little ball of sugar, water, and lemon juice. So it's all natural. You can eat it, tastes like honey. And I really started growing the sugaring side first. And then I started developing my team. And as I was developing my team, I had a lot of girls who were really interested in skin and skincare and adding facials on. And I was like, okay, we're going to do that. Let's go. And we started doing facials. I personally have always really loved the medical game more than anything else, just because I love a facial. Do not get me wrong. Facials are absolutely incredible. They should be essential in your, monthly routine. But where we can really, really get stellar results is with things like laser and microneedling.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to kind of get into that and dabble into it, but it's such a weird market and it's challenging to be able to offer things like that. You have to have a medical director. It's like whole different ball game.
Yeah.
So this past year, okay, backtrack, sold the bar studio 2018, 2021 is when we started growing the sugaring hut. And it's just been kind of like a nice, slow, but also fast progression of
Hey.
And then this past October was when we brought on a medical director and a laser. So
wow.
Yes, we weren't technically considered med spa up until this past year, but now that we have those things, we are more like
okay.
med
Can
spa.
I highlight something real quickly? That every freaking operator needs to hear this. It's like you had restrictions and roadblocks in where you want to go in the growth. And it wasn't like, I'm going towards these detours or maybe not. You're like, no, I'm going to get this. And you achieved that because you needed that in place in order to go in that direction.
100%, yes.
You like literally follow the business roadmap.
Yep, and roadblock.
That sounds crazy, but
how to jump the hurdles and make it through.
Like crap, high five. Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, so now you've got the team in place. Now you got what is the business requirements in place to be able to offer that. Okay, now where are we?
Yes, and now we are still, doing our thing over here, just kind of growing and I don't know, just seeing kind of where business takes us in the next few years.
I love it. So what can you say is like your favorite business aspect of running a business as a founder, an owner, because you have total ownership, right?
I do have total ownership, yes.
Hell yeah.
I feel like for me personally, I really, really love having a team. That is something that I missed when I was solo. So being able to have a team and kind of like growing the team and seeing them be successful in the industry and starting to grow and expand and becoming a master esthetician and things like that. It's been really, really fun to get to grow the business, but also to grow them as individuals alongside myself in the business. That's what I love.
Oh my gosh. So help me, walk me through.
Really
it's like, it's career development. So help me understand how you, where do they usually begin with you and then going up to that master level?
Yeah. Okay,
like how do you talk about it with them?
Yeah. State of Washington, we have regular esthetician and then we also have master esthetician. So, in order to be able to perform things like laser treatments, medium depth peels, and lasers and microneedling, all that jazz, you do have to be a master esthetician. So it requires a little bit more schooling. It requires an extra additional test and additional license. But once you get there, you can start kind of like dabbling into all those fun medical services and medical treatments.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to go
Yes.
to a doctor, go and
Right,
having them do
right.
a
You want to
surgery
see
without,
who specializes. And I really do love that the
yeah.
state of Washington requires that because a lot of states don't. There's a
Oh,
few. And I think in our industry, we're going to start to see that a little bit more because you should have advanced practice and you should be continuing your education and your knowledge and skin and skincare and in the industry is growing rapidly,
yeah,
especially
it's
now.
insane.
And if you're not keeping up with it and you're not staying a sponge, you're not going to grow with it. You're just going to kind of hang out in one space. And
That's
I,
what I mean. You're a go-getter and you're like, okay, we're going to be at the top of game. We need to get this medical director. We need to get this kind of technology, blah, 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 blah. Because people want to know if you're using the latest technology and, so that they can align with that, right? So help me understand. Okay, so I need to break this through of like, um, because I feel like this is where you're kind of like intrinsically truly in business. So, your dad's in business, and so you grew up in an environment in a business like environment. My dad's
yeah.
also in business, so I have that kind of too. So that's where I feel like we have this commonality, and then not a lot of people have it. Like some people might have, their dad's in business, but they may not have really been in the business with them. It could have been
Totally.
like a summer thing, like a week long, hey, help me out with this kind of thing. But like you and I, we were like kind of in the trenches and that's how we grew up. So I would love to hear your side of the story of how, what areas kind of influence you that you kind of, as you started to operate, you're like, oh, wow, I thought that was natural, but that was because of, these pros that I had in a business environment household. And then also you're like the turning point. I want to hear the turning point where you're like, I'm going to do it my way this way. So those are the two areas I would love to
That
dive
is
in.
like the best question ever because to be completely honest with you, I don't know.
What? Okay, let's talk about it.
Just literally flying by the seat of my pants, doing what I'm doing. I think in order to be good at business, you have to be willing to make mistakes. And the only way to ever
Mm,
grow and learn is by failing. And the more we fail, the better we succeed in the future, right?
mm,
So I feel like for me, it wasn't necessarily, I mean, I have a lot of business people around me. My sister, my whole family are business owners, small business owners. So seeing that and having that and being a part of that has always been absolutely amazing. And having somebody to kind of pick their brain too is awesome. And it's hard to do it by yourself. So I have a amazing support system around me, but really it's kind of trial and error and failing and opening a bar studio and realizing you can't do everything and you need to make
wonder
a
what that group
change.
text
So
look
how are you
like.
gonna make a change? Yes, yes. And
Wait,
then
so
it's even
like,
like bringing on a laser and now having a team.
yeah.
I'm starting to find this like growth within myself too of I need to shift and change where my focus is because it's not
Mm,
tiny in a room seeing, patients all day. It needs to kind of shift and grow and ebb and flow. Otherwise, the business side kind of takes a little bit of a hit. So
mm.
I really feel like for me, it's more just flying by the seat of my pants and figuring it out as I go.
Well,
Probably not
everyone
the best
has a
way to
different
do it, but that's
relationship.
what we're doing.
Yeah, and everyone has a different relationship with failure. I'm so glad you're saying that so openly because that's really what it is, right? It's trial and error until you kind of hit it in a way.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so what are the conversations like that? Because it sounds like it's been so normalized and so healthy for you, which that sounds very functional. A lot of maybe sometimes. But it can be very dysfunctional if not everyone, in like the support system understands all of that. So help me
Yeah.
understand if like an example of maybe a conversation through failure or like that you heard of like, your support system that's going to fail. How do they talk about that's like normal that you guys are able to pick each other up? Because just I think hearing that example where maybe other people's, spouses, or if they're dad, mom, uncle, auntie, like sister, brother, who's like, okay, this founder, they're in the game and, it's really hard and I'm not really sure what to say or how to say things that actually wouldn't be so surface level, but is truly supportive. So do you have some examples that you would be able to share of what that conversation snippet would even look like in the context of failure?
Yeah, I mean, my motto has always been the only thing you fail at is the thing you don't try. So,
Ooh,
if you get
quote.
that and you really jump into that one,
Yeah, let's do it.
I think you just have to dive in and you just have to do it and make sure that you have people around you who support you and help you through the hard times because, even if you're failing or not failing, like only thing you fail at really is the thing that you don't try. So there's always a lesson to be learned. There's always something to grow you, to grow either your business or your mind or your heart or your energy. Um, so yeah, conversations with family, I really feel like it's just kind of like taking it one day at a time and where are you at in the moment? What do you need help with? Like my sister has always been a really, really amazing role model and helper for me too. She is incredible and I respect her so much in business. She's a rock star. So having her support has always been amazing. And obviously find your people who are your cheerleaders and know who they are because not every day is rainbows and butterflies. So,
Yeah. I
and
think we
make
hit it on the
sure if
key is the
you,
respect part.
yes, and make sure your spouse
Yeah.
is supportive and make sure your spouse knows how to pick you up when you need it because
Mm.
there are days that I come home at the end of the day and I'm exhausted and Tanner is amazing and just instantly knows and has dinner ready and he's like, "Okay, whatever you need, like I got you." It's awesome. But I've been so lucky to have Tanner in my life because the two of us kind of grew up together and kind of morphed into one. And both of us have these ebbs and flows in business where one of us is really busy and the other one kind of isn't. So we both know how to like pick up the pieces for each other when we're in those times. Um,
Yeah.
so
Because
it's
he's in
really
business
awesome.
too. So you guys are truly a
Yeah.
household. You guys are a power couple. You guys are both entrepreneurs.
Yeah. We're just out there hustling, you
You
know?
guys have your own babies and like the business babies.
Yes, the business babies. That is for sure. Yes.
I
But yeah,
love
I mean, I feel
that.
like I don't know if that answered the question, but
No, it does because at the end of the day, it really is respect, right? And it's like
yeah,
it's the interpersonal skill set, I think, is what you're demonstrating of the level of interpersonal skill set that you and your support system have is on the basis of mutual respect. And you
yes,
can't listen to someone if you don't respect them
yes,
and the other way around, right? And just because she's your sister or she's, relative or, or your dad or whatever, it's like you can't hear each other because you're so close and you see everything, all that kind of stuff with your
yes,
spouse, unless you respect them and you're understanding what their wishes are and that you are not going to give up. You're going to keep on going and then back to your model. So it's like, I think it's that amazing, healthy support system of your why and to keep on going because you really want to go towards hope, right? And you don't ever want, I think the best thing of a support system is like, if someone's kind of like, nagging you or gnawing you of like, well, then why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you come home later with the like, and it's like, but another conversation could look different, right? So and giving them the space and the mental, like a safe mental room that because you don't know what the next day is going to look like, you might be like sorting out a lot of fires.
yes. You have no idea day to day what it looks like. And I think just
Yeah.
having a good support system around you who understands what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build and what you're going through is
Mm,
so important. And if they don't understand,
bye.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
hate
that was
that
maybe
so
harsh.
much.
I don't
No,
know.
I hate it so much.
Oh,
But, at the end of the day, you're trying to do a thing and you're trying to grow and create something
yeah.
really, really amazing. And if people don't support you in that, are they worth your time? I don't know. And your energy too,
Yeah.
like it's like I said, some days I come home at the end of the day and I'm so exhausted, I have nothing left to give. So you do have to be very, very wise with where you're choosing to put your energy as well, and knowing what you need too. And I think relaying how you're actually feeling and willing to be vulnerable with the people who are the closest to you and let them know, like, this is what I'm going through right now. So the last thing I need right now is you nagging me, or the last thing I need is you like asking a lot out of me at the end of the day today. I think as long as you're willing to be upfront and tell your people what you're going through, they'll support you through it.
Yeah, I think the golden rule I like to try to lead by example is to be unproblematic.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Yes.
To me, I'm like that's a principle of like how can I not be like like how to and like the both sides too, right? So and I
Yes.
love what you're saying about, sometimes when you really don't have anything to give, but also communicating upfront, this is what I'm going through, this is what's happening. And I think that
Yeah.
is the communication that absolutely has to happen.
Well, there's seasons where it's going to be
Yeah.
really challenging, and then there's seasons where it's going to be like, okay, let's do whatever. So you gotta love the hard seasons, and you also need to love the not so hard seasons and really appreciate the not so hard seasons. But it's like I always say, you have to have good days and you have to have bad days, because what is
Yeah.
life if we don't have to get through our bad days?
Yeah. And the mountain
Challenge
that you're
you, it
talking
doesn't change
about.
you.
Yes, and the challenge though of like climbing the mountain, I always use the mountain as an analogy and
Yes.
how we're saying like, well, it would be a waste of time on both sides if we're not aligned and it, isn't kind of working out or whatever it is. And I think it's like, and that goes to anyone, like any relationship that you have, right? And it's like, the common analogy of the oxygen. It's like, you are living kind of in the future, you're living like 18 months from where you are right now, because like even when you're like, yo, I want to grow this
Yeah.
business, so I'm gonna need a medical doctor, I'm gonna need XYZ, blah 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 blah. And so that's like living
Literally
in the
in
future
there,
because you
power
knew.
there.
Yeah, but you knew your destination of that milestone that you really want to hit. As to how you got there, I mean that's all in one. Like that's who you are, and that's the willpower and your business acumen and all that kind of stuff. But going up the mountain, like you were saying before, it is kind of lonely. But if you had the support system who has the same oxygen level as you do,
Yes.
and so you just keep on going, and if like if it doesn't work out, then you got to keep on going though, because
You got to keep pushing through. Got to
you
keep
got to keep
right.
going. Yeah. So let's talk about going into oxygen, customer service, because there's a lot of oxygen required on that. What are you what are your golden rules when it comes to customer service? Because one of the commonality that I saw you like in the flesh, you were going, and I was just like, I feel like I've met a lot of people in my life, but I haven't met someone like you who reminded me of how I think intense might be the word, like in a positive way, but how intense, because when I was a little girl in the restaurant, I was saying hi to every single customer because I
Yeah.
had to pick up the phone, do the order when they came and say hi, please wait 10 more minutes kind of thingy. Like, my customer face was like everything because that was the only time they were really interacting in that way. So I was representing, my dad's business, and that was really important. And even though I was not able to articulate like this when I was a little girl, and I would bring a stool step, by the way, from the cash register over to the. Yeah, so I was like, I'm 5'1". Back then, I was not 5'1". Okay. Like gross spirit, like questionable. But anyways, so like I had to kind of, I didn't, I think I just subconsciously knew that, because my dad's business was really based on returning customers. He was kind of like the neighborhood consultant. It was like kind of like the wise old Chinese guy that everyone's like, please tell me what my fortune is this year kind of thing. Like they would come back with the same order every single time. So kind of like with your services, whether it's waxes or, treatments or whatever it may be, that's where I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like we totally connect and can understand each other. So it was like game recognizes game, basically. And I was like, she's amazing. So tell me, what are your golden rules for you and what are your principles of how it became so natural as a habit? But what do you think in the sense of like that became your SOP almost as you onboard new folks as well to represent the culture and the brand and product that you're pushing through in your town?
One of our mottos at the Sugaring Hut is it's always a party at the Sugaring Hut.
Hey.
So I love people to walk in the door and be greeted and feel like they just entered the party. You should always walk in the door to excitement and, hi, how's your day going? Cheerful.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to walk into a space like, hey.
Yeah, like no one wants to be in a freaking birthday party and be like, am I in the right room? Right?
Yeah, it's like, hey, you chose to get sugared. Thanks for coming. We love you. How are you? But also, that's just part of my personality, too.
It really is. But you are the leader, so the culture is in reflection of who you are.
Yes, we love to bring that in and, have a good time at work. And also, if we're having fun, everybody else is having fun. And it can always be a good time, right? Now,
yeah.
we can get very serious and talk very serious things, but it should always be a good time when you walk in the door.
It's kind of like when you go to the doctor and you're like, okay, I'm going to give you a shot, but it's not going to be that painful. I'm going to walk you through blah, 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 blah. And it's like, don't worry, it's going to be over in a few minutes. And I think I can already like hear you like going through the procedure of like, it's not going to be so bad. And, when you walk in versus the actual treatment of it, I'm sure the caretaking in between too, and the post-care and then going to check out, right?
Well, and if we're talking things like, getting sugared, you're getting a Brazilian, intimate service. You come in and like, you want to feel comfortable where you're walking into. You don't want to be like, oh my gosh, I feel really uncomfortable and I'm already really nervous and nobody even said hi to me. What am I doing here? Like,
yeah, it's their practice run before they go to the gyno.
Exactly. Yes. And also like, people trust us. So it's, I feel like a blessing every single time somebody new walks through our doors. And that is just the moment that we need to, be there for them too, because we are their service provider. And I don't know, take the best care that we can.
I love what you said because it's that principle. So it doesn't, you're such a business leader.
It's a blessing.
No, a lot of people, a lot of executives, they have a hard time understanding what is that very top principle, because then you don't have to necessarily micromanage all the things because everyone knows that they have to work and towards that, whatever that looks like, whatever, because everyone has their different strengths and weaknesses. Everyone has different, talents and different personalities and everything. Like, everyone brings something different to the table, right? And you're really saying the thing that people really need to understand and learn is that, like, if your thing is like speed is king and that is the motto kind of thing, then everyone has to do whatever to do that, in whatever way that they can. And with your motto of saying, hey, it's like a party, like that is very like whatever party looks like, joy, all that kind of stuff, whatever that looks is at their highest frequency. And you're really smart.
We're just over here having a good time, see?
That's what it is. And it should be a good time. And so what do you think is, so that's your golden rules. And I think if we can wrap up on this point here, what are you looking forward to? What would you want to be so you have had so many incredible mentors around you.
Yes, I'm very lucky.
Yeah. And so like, what does mentorship mean to you, and what kind of area, now that you're going through several different business stages? I mean, you've really hit a lot of business stages that a lot of business owners would not be able to do, quite honestly. So as you keep on hitting up one stage at a time, what is the next mountain that you want to climb, that you're choosing your hard, and that you would want mentorship to get that shortcut to get there, without dying? Achieving it and seeing the sun.
Without dying. I love this. Well, right now, so October was when I brought on the laser. So
Okay.
right now, my main goal is to just get that up and running and get it rocking and rolling and get more of like the skin side of the business rocking and rolling.
I see.
So I feel like I just hit a really, really big, I don't know, hill or mountain or milestone. So right now I'm kind of in that like, okay, I need a breather for 1 second. And then I'm going to start hitting more goals. But as of right now, I'm not really, there's nothing that I'm really like focusing on. And, it's January 2025. We all are like, new year, new goals.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing this year? And for
But
me,
you've already had a plan.
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of goals right now, but I don't really feel like I have one major big milestone that I'm technically working on right now.
Really? I feel like you're working on things all the time. You running around.
Valid point and great question because yeah, you're absolutely right on that. I'm always doing something.
You're like the most active entrepreneur. Like, I know like a lot of entrepreneurs, and you're really crazy in and I mean that in a really good, positive way, because the amount of devotion that you have to business work, everything that you stacked in your business career and your personal life, and even what you're saying of, and by the way, you did answer that question, like what were those questions and the conversation look like? That was a very direct of what are your wants and your needs.
Yes.
And that is extremely healthy and functional.
We have a moment, okay?
And that. But like, what I mean, but I mean, the direct conversation of what are your wants and needs, because it's really hard to, go through the emotionally charged moments, and then it's like, okay, what do we need to do to kind of move forward? What do you need? And you got to answer that, right? So for them to ask those questions allows you the opportunity to actually answer it. And it's not a projection of someone else, and you're able to make the call, which then is a positive reinforcement actually into you being an owner and a founder.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's good to, know what you need. Hopefully before you need it, before you hit that breaking point.
We always are like, that's right. That really is the race, right? It's a different kind of rat race when we're in business.
Breaking point. But the best part about it is you said it perfectly with the mountain. It's like, I talk about it with running all the time.
Ooh.
When you're running up a hill, there's going to be a point where you're going to break because running up a hill sucks. It is not fun. But you know that you're going to make it to the top of the hill, and it usually, what goes up must come down. And you get to jog down the hill is always really, really a lovely process after making it up the hill. So right now I'm kind of like, I hit up the hill, and I had a breaking point up the hill, and then now I'm just going to start gliding.
So then help me understand.
I'm in glide zone right now.
Okay,
I'm
but
not in
like,
glide zone. That's a total lie.
I'm like, I don't know. That might just be like your autopilot of like doing all the hard things, because that's the thing. I think it's like people who are starting out, the chaos. You're able to navigate chaos with sometimes your eyes closed is how I feel like you operate, because you're so good at it, because you have such great senses, because you've been working those muscles like crazy.
Yep.
If someone is just starting to get into entrepreneurship, or they're like, oh, I want to change my career from corporate to blah, they weren't listening to certain things. They weren't paying attention to certain things. They're not able to identify certain things because they didn't need to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like over
You want to be
time,
a
I feel
business
like you've
owner, you have to
really,
know that you gotta hustle.
yeah,
There is no like come home at the end of the day and just relax. I mean, there is, but
yeah,
it's a lot. It's a lot in the
yeah.
best ways,
Okay.
though.
So what would you say if,
Like, I was
what would
talking
you
to
say
Tanner the
to,
other day,
yeah,
and he said, he's like, you just love the thrill of the challenge.
Tanner's her husband, everyone, by the
Yeah,
way.
Tanner's my husband.
Yeah.
My husband.
A
And
business husband.
we're like, talking about what's next, what are we
Oh,
doing?
real husband and business husband.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And he's like, you just love the thrill of the challenge. It's like, you don't know how to not.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
So that's what makes us really high achievers and high performers. We can't not do it.
No. If I have too much free time, that's when it's scary because, like, what am I going to do next? What business am I opening now?
Another location, Christy.
Oh, man. I mean, you never know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I'm totally planting that seed. Totally planting that seed in your head because I just think you like I'm serious. You do so well with your employees, and I love how you're able to, and what I mean by that too is as an owner, you know that you have to delegate. You know you need a team. You know you have to and but what I mean by that is that you have people with you. Okay, but you're doing it anyways more than a lot of other people is what I'm trying to say. And so you do have you have a whole team to be able to, and you understand what those job descriptions are, those roles are in place. It's not a maybe or not. Like you got things in place and you have certain SOPs that allows you to move forward. And so that clarity is really awesome to have, and you're on your way for that. So to me, I'm like, that's really amazing. And a lot of startups, it's really hard to get to that point because of everything maybe pivoting and stuff like. So I'm saying like kudos to you, and like seriously, give yourself a hug and clap yourself on the back for having a business model that you're really, devoted to, seeing it through the plan no matter how hard it is.
And also just know it always ebbs and flows and shifts. Being mentally prepared for that. Because, I would say my business plan and model has shifted so many different times over the past couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. And also what you want to do too, your personal growth, right? And you were talking about that because you keep on growing. Yeah, I feel like you're like just like Super Mario and you just keep on leveling up. We're like in a different map now.
Collecting all the coins.
Yeah, and I was like, every single time we catch up, you're like in a different map and you're like just like leveling up, and it's really cool. So I'm super proud to be your friend and being able to see your empire grow, basically. So I'm just like, you're like the Wenatchee, the goddess of Wenatchee.
Well, you're the best for saying that. Thank you.
I want people to go to Wenatchee. I want everyone to be like, wow. Yeah. How far is Wenatchee from Seattle? I'm going to stop and get a beer along the way.
Yeah. I'm going to go get a beer and then go get sugared.
Yes, exactly. For men and women, by the way. So open too.
The best. It's the best.
Christy, thank you so much for sharing your insights, and this was awesome. I'm just like, I'm so stoked because I didn't even know that you have exited that other business, and that is one of the most amazing handover like situation that you can have. Like it wasn't someone who was a super stranger, it was someone who was already in the business and someone who was already doing it. So you knew that you were able to hand over from one skill to another. Like that wasn't like, you didn't have a whole nother set of problems of like, well, they're just going to burn it down to the ground, or not able to uplift the same kind of brand essence and all that kind of stuff. Like it's a reputation thing, And so like, that's freaking awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, all right. Thank you, Christy. And I hope we can chat more and do this again
soon. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.